Merry meet witches, I'm Gory B Movie, and today I'm sharing my most anticipated movies of 2022. So I'm doing things a little bit differently today, giving you guys an unscripted video, just you and me talking about horror. And what better way to start than talking about the movies I am looking forward to this year. There are a lot, starting with Scream. The new film promises to take the franchise back to where it all began. It's bringing back Gale, Dewey, and Sydney, and I'm kinda hoping that we see Stu again. It's been a popular fan theory that he might return in some way in this movie. He was originally supposed to be the killer in Scream 3. The idea was that he was orchestrating these new killings from prison, but then that got changed and they had to buy Matthew Lillard out of his contract. So it's not crazy to think that he might return in some way in this movie. If not in person, maybe one of the new characters is related to him. And if he's all that can get Matthew Lillard to come back for their reboot, I'm pretty sure that Scream can get him to come back for theirs. My biggest hope for this film is that it won't be so precious with its characters. We've gotten to the point with Scream that I feel like Gale, Dewey, and Sydney are not in any real danger. I hope in the next movie that we see some real stakes get raised. Maybe one of them will get killed off, or maybe one of them will be the killer. The movie's also introducing a whole new crop of younger characters, kind of like what we saw in Scream 4. There's gonna be Dylan Minnette, who was in Don't Breathe, and Jenna Ortega, who was in You Season 2 and will be in Tim Burton's upcoming Wednesday series. Next up, we have Evil Dead Rise. This is going to be a very different Evil Dead movie. It's about two sisters. One of them is visiting the other in this high-rise apartment building. They find the Book of the Dead down in the basement, and then Deadite madness ensues. It's set in LA, though it was filmed in New Zealand, and filming wrapped in October of last year. The Evil Dead remake set records for the amount of blood used in that movie, and Evil Dead Rise is following in those footsteps. They've already gone through over 6,000 liters of blood. The movie is set to be released directly to HBO Max sometime this year, and I'm a little bummed out because I would love to see all of that glorious blood on the big screen. Now, Bruce Campbell has said that he is done playing Ash, so we will not be seeing that character in this movie. However, he and Sam Raimi are executive producing, and I trust them. There hasn't been a bad movie in this franchise yet. Even the series Ash vs. Evil Dead and the remake were amazing. I'm also interested to see the Evil Dead franchise leave that cabin in the woods setting. The idea of Evil Dead moving into a high-rise apartment building is giving me Big Demons 2 vibes, and I love that movie, so I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this film. Next up is Nope. This is another Jordan Peele movie. He's got a great track record so far. I really liked Get Out, I liked Us, I liked The Twilight Zone. The only information I can find on this movie is the poster, which is a giant cloud with what looks like a kite string trailing behind it, and there's some kind of festival down below. So this could be a creepy carnival movie, maybe it's aliens, maybe it's just a killer cloud. I have really no idea. I'm guessing it's going to be another film with some social commentary because that's what Jordan Peele does. He's got a great cast lined up for this one. He's reuniting with Daniel Kaluuya, who he did Get Out with. He's got Keke Palmer, who was on the TV show Scream Queens, and Steven Yeun, who was in Mayhem and The Walking Dead. I trust Jordan Peele. He's not done me wrong yet, so I'm gonna be there on opening day to see this one. Next up, we have Outwaters. Again, I don't know a whole lot about this movie, but a few people I follow on Letterboxd and Twitter have seen screenings, and a lot of them are saying it's the scariest movie they've seen in a long time. So this is a found footage film. It's about 4 travelers who go camping in the Mojave Desert where they encounter a menacing phenomena. I have no idea what this phenomena is, but I have seen the trailer and the movie looks like it's very intense. It was written and directed by Robbie Banfitch, who also stars in the film, who says that he was heavily inspired by the Blair Witch Project. I'm hoping this gets a widespread release sometime this year, but in the meantime, if you want to check it out early, the New Jersey Film Festival is showing it virtually on February 11th, and you can pre-order your tickets for that event now. I'll make sure to include a link to that in the description below. I'm looking forward to seeing this early. It sounds like the kind of thing that I just don't want spoiled for me, so I'm not going to be checking out any more trailers. I just want to go in blind and hopefully be very scared. Now, one I'm super excited about is The Black Phone. It's directed by Scott Derrickson, who also directed Sinister, which I really enjoyed. It also stars Ethan Hawke, who starred in Sinister. And what I've been reading on Letterboxd from people who've seen early screenings of it, like Joe Lynch, is that this movie is really scary. Universal has released a trailer, and Ethan Hawke looks like he is just going to be a terrific villain. The premise for this one is that a 13-year-old boy is kidnapped by a serial killer and locked in a basement with a disconnected phone. The phone rings, and he finds that he's able to talk to the serial killer's previous victims. They guide him and try to help him survive the situation so that he does not end up like them. This is such a unique concept, and I am very interested in seeing how it plays out. And of course, it's 2022, so I've got to mention Halloween Ends. David Gordon Green has shown that he has a lot of passion for this franchise. He has put so much heart and soul into the 2 movies he's already completed. I really liked his Halloween. Halloween Kills, I've only seen the one time, so I still need to process my thoughts on it, but I have some issues with it. I could have done without them saying Evil Dies Tonight so much, and some of the performances were a little off, but overall, I think it was beautifully shot, the score is amazing, and Michael Myers is the scariest he's ever been. This next film is going to be set 4 years after Halloween Kills. It's going to address the pandemic in some way, and it's supposed to be more of a coming-of-age story and more of an intimate story. So I'm guessing that this one's going to be focusing more on the granddaughter of Laurie Strode. At this point, I'm invested, and I'm very curious to see how this trilogy ends. Next up, we have Hellraiser, and I am so excited for this film. It's directed by David Bruckner, who did Southbound, VHS, The Night House, which came out last year and was amazing, The Ritual, and The Signal. All great films. He is a very passionate and innovative filmmaker. Also, this film is going to do things a little bit differently. It's going back to the original novella, The Hellbound Heart. In an interview with Bloody Disgusting, Bruckner said, "All I can say is that we're aiming to be as true as we can to the original material. The Hellbound Heart is also a primary source of inspiration as well as the original film, but then it is something of a reimagining." Clive Barker's novella, The Hellbound Heart, is fantastic. And if you've read that, you know that the lead Cenobite that we've come to know as Pinhead, played by Doug Bradley, was an androgynous being described as having a feminine voice. For that reason, they've redesigned the character to look more feminine and cast actress Jamie Clayton to play the role. Clive Barker is also returning to the franchise as a producer. Additionally, he's working on a Hellraiser TV series with David Gordon Green that will be premiering later this year on HBO. I am all for a reboot of this franchise. I love Hellraiser. I love Hellraiser 2. I really like Bloodline, but most of the films in this franchise were not intended to be Hellraiser films. They started as spec scripts that were molded into Hellraiser films, and the results are hit or miss. I think for the most part they're pretty decent, but then we get to Hellraiser Revelations, and that's just, it's just bad, guys. It's bad. If you've seen it, you know what I mean. I've heard Judgment is a little bit better, but I haven't seen it. At any rate, this franchise is long overdue for a rehaul, and I think it's in good hands, and I am really excited to see where it goes. Hellraiser is set to be released direct to streaming on Hulu later this year. Next up, we have Salem's Lot. I am so excited for this movie. I loved the Tobe Hooper one that was made for TV. I even liked the other made for TV miniseries that starred Rob Lowe and Donald Sutherland. But this one's going to be a theatrically released Salem's Lot, and that's something we haven't seen before. It's going to be interesting to see this story told with maybe some bigger production values. The movie is written and directed by Gary Dauberman, who does have experience with King's work. He did work on the screenplays for It Chapters 1 and 2. He's also worked on the screenplays for a lot of the Conjuring universe, like The Nun and the Annabelle movies. He also directed Annabelle Comes Home. I'm really digging the casting so far. Lewis Pullman from Strangers Prey at Night will be playing Ben Mears. And William Sadler is currently not credited on IMDb, but I am really hoping he's playing Barlow. He was terrific in Freaked, Demon Knight, and Disturbing Behavior, though his role in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey will always hold a special place in my heart. I am always excited to see Sadler in horror movies, and it would be awesome to see him in this iconic role. I do have my reservations about this one. one, but honestly, I'm just excited to see this novel get the big screen treatment it deserves. Salem's Lot will be hitting theaters on September 9th of this year. Continuing on with the Stephen King adaptations, we have Firestarter. I'm actually more excited for this one. It's directed by Keith Thomas. He hasn't done a whole lot, but it looks like what he has done has been in horror. He did write and direct a movie called The Vigil. I didn't see that one, but it's got fire on the poster, so that's good, right? Playing the father, Andy McGee, in this is Zac Efron. I think that's a great casting choice. He's a really talented and underrated actor with incredible range. These are some big shoes to fill. I think David Keith gave such an intense performance in that 1984 movie, but I think Efron has what it takes. I'm really loving the set photos we're seeing of him and the little girl who's playing Charlie together. They look like they have great chemistry. Charlie McGee is played by Ryan Kira Armstrong. I've only seen her in It Chapter 2, but she had a memorable part in that movie. She was the little girl with the birthmark, so I'm excited to see what she does in this. And Rainbird is played by Michael Grey Eyes. I'm very happy with the casting of this one since Rainbird is supposed to be Cherokee. He is a Native American character and he should be played by a Native American actor. The character was whitewashed in the 1984 movie played by George C. Scott, and in Firestarter Rekindled played by Malcolm McDowell. So as talented and as amazing as those two actors are, I just don't think they were right for this part. And I think it's gonna be awesome to finally see this character portrayed the way that he was written. Michael Grey Eyes does have some experience with horror. He was in Fear the Walking Dead and Blood Quantum. He was great in that movie, and I have no doubt that he's gonna be amazing in this film. This is such a good story, and I love it so much. I don't know if you were like me, but I used to get the hairdryer out and make my hair blow back and feel like I was Charlie McGee. Charlie's awesome. She's such a great character, and I think this has the potential to be a really good movie. And now let's talk about the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. This is really on the list only because it's a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie and I love me some Leatherface, but that trailer, yeah, I don't know about that trailer. So the movie is about a bunch of kids who go to start up a business in Texas, but they end up pissing off Leatherface, who comes after them, and that gets the attention of Sally Hardesty, who was the final girl in the original movie. Unfortunately, Marilyn Burns, who played Sally Hardesty originally, has passed away, so obviously she is not returning for this role. Instead, the part will be played by Irish actress Alwyn Foyre, whom American audiences will probably best remember as Mother Marlene in Mandy. However, the person I am most excited to see in this movie is Alice Krieger, whom I know a lot of people remember from Star Trek, but I will always remember her most fondly from her role in Sleepwalkers. So if nothing else, I'll be happy to see her. It is coming straight to Netflix, which again, I don't know. I'm nervous about that decision because I want to see Leatherface on the big screen, but also it makes me think that they don't have a whole lot of confidence in this movie. But you know, a lot of great horror movies have premiered on Netflix, so I'm hoping that my reservations are wrong and that this turns out to be really great. Next is Dark Harvest. This is by David Slade. He did Hard Candy, he did Twilight Eclipse, and 30 Days of Night, which I really love. This sounds like such a unique and interesting movie, and I'm all for checking out something that I haven't seen before. I know it's based on a book by Norman Partridge. I haven't read it, but I've heard that it did really well. The story is about this small Midwestern town where every fall the October Boy rises. It's a giant pumpkin-headed creature that makes its way towards the church at the center of town. The town conducts a competition called The Run, where all of the teenage boys are tasked to try and find and capture this creature. The people who live in this town are forbidden to leave. Unless they catch the October Boy, then their prize is their freedom. I'm really looking forward to this one. The cover art of the book is so cool. It's got this giant pumpkin guy on it. It looks like something out of Nightmare Before Christmas. I feel like this is just going to be a really cool, unique horror movie, and I am game. Of course, I am always excited about a cool witch movie. One we have coming up this year is You Won't Be Alone. It is about a feral witch who accidentally kills a peasant. She assumes the peasant's shape to see what life is like in her skin, igniting a deep-seated curiosity to experience life inside the bodies of others. It just sounds really creepy and cool and, you know, witches, so I'm excited to check this one out. And the last movie I wanted to talk about is Time Cut. This is by Hannah McPherson, who we don't have a full synopsis for this one, but it's being described as Back to the Future meets Scream. This one's produced by Christopher Landon, which I think is fitting because he did Happy Death Day, which was kind of like Groundhog's Day but a horror movie, and he directed Freaky, which was like Freaky Friday but a horror movie. So this is going to be essentially Back to the Future but a horror movie, and I'm really excited to see how it turns out. Okay, that was a lot of movies, but hopefully I mentioned some that maybe you hadn't heard of that you're gonna get excited about too. If there's any that I haven't mentioned that you're looking forward to, let me know in the comments down below because I'm all about new horror movies, and if you're excited about it, I'm probably gonna be excited too. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hack that thumbs up button, and for more gory goodness, please subscribe and ring that bell. And until we meet again, blessed be.